Hey, my name is John Ryan. I'm the pastor of leadership development here at Matthias' Lot Church. And so ended up moving to St. Louis about 23 years ago to plant a church called the Summit Church and was there for 20 years. Towards the last 5-6 years of being there, again, started discerning this call from God to spend more time in raising up leaders and sending church planters.
God had gifted John to raise up leaders and to equip leaders for the future generation and expansion of the kingdom of God in our world.
As that calling became more and more clear that this is what God was wanting me to do full-time, the wrestling got even stronger, because what it was going to mean was having to leave the church I was at that I'd planted and been at for so many years.
John took me out for an appetizer and a drink and said, "Hey, I need to tell you something." And we sat down and he shared with me his heart and his passion, his vision for what God was calling him to.
Man, I've been wrestling with this, but I've just got to do this. God is not letting me step away from this. I needed to be in a place where God was going to allow me to be in a pool, literally a pool of hundreds of young leaders that were wanting to be equipped and trained and sent out.
Of course, we wanted to be supportive of what God was calling John to, and it made so much more sense for him to use his gifts and strengths here at Matthias, being around more young leaders and the opportunity to really invest.
God orchestrated all that in more ways than I can even begin to imagine, to do it in a beautiful partnership between two churches, two Acts 29 churches right here that were literally only separated by about 12 miles. And so our hope is that this would grow in stages. One of the things we're learning about church planting right now is that there's not just a bunch of guys falling off trees like there was 10 or 15 years ago ready to be church planters. Those guys are going to have to be raised up, and it's going to take time. It's going to take a process. It's going to take some intentionality and a lot of messy, hand-to-hand loving of people from intern stage to resident stage before they plant a church stage.
Really being able to invest in and pour into upcoming leaders, although I desperately want to be a part of that, especially when it comes to church planning, can be time-consuming and hard.
And God said, I want you to trust me with what I'm calling you to now. And it's going to require you to step out of this lead pastor role to devote all of your time to this for the rest of your days.
My name is Paul Fernandez, and I am a church planter in Belleville, Illinois. I had an idea in my head. I felt like the Lord was really prompting me, okay, here I'm calling you to plant, but I wanted to do it in a healthy way. And so I talked to this guy named John Ryan, and I said, hey, I think I need to plant a church.
So the church planting residency works through an arm of our church called Servant Leader Institute. So the curriculum, 2 years, walking with guys, a lot of hands-on, and then they're embedded in a local church where a local pastor is walking with them through preaching and hands-on pastoring and hands-on gospel transformation day by day. And so our first, probably most important thing we do is really focus on the planter's heart.
Okay, what does it look like to have a good heart in the midst of being a church planter?
Preaching, teaching, pastoring, failing, sinning, repenting, all of these things require somebody to walk with, invest in, and then send out in a relationship that takes time.
It's changing like the health of me as an individual. And so I believe that that's just going to roll over in my leadership. It's going to roll over on the body that God is calling me to lead.
The second part that we start talking about is, okay, as God starts to change us, what does that look like as it comes out of our eyes, our mouth, our hands? And we really focus in on servant leadership.
The fact that I get coaching, training, resources, and someone personally loving on me and caring for me, and from different perspectives, is seriously one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Right now we have a place where we can send people to get equipped. If we're going to see real revival and the expansion of the kingdom in our area, it's going to take every church working together in many different ways on many different levels, and this was just one of them.
Church planning dramatically matters to me and is important to me because God has called me to be about that, to be about the surety of the church proclaiming the gospel and making sure the gospel is going into new places, reaching new people all over the world, all over this community.